very beautiful morning to you, a wonderful listener, wherever it is you're listening from. On Pensioners 106.7 FM. Of course, the moment it's 7 o'clock, it's time for Newsreel. My name is Balqis, Ishola, Taiwo. This morning, I have with me the Punch newspaper as well as the Nigerian Tribune. Taking the major headline coming from the front page of the Nigerian Tribune, hence SARS protests turned bloody. Buhari assures errant policemen will be dealt with. Quite a number of writers to that headline say scrap of SAS, first step in police reform. Others investigation into Ogbomoso killings. Policeman, civilian shot dead in Lagos. Hoodlum trying to free suspected kidnapper, not protester. Killed in Surulere, Lagos, government explained. Makinde deploys Operation Bust, tells police to take back seats. Now is good moment for police reforms. That's coming from Oshibajo. PDP demands complete overhaul, restructuring. All of this I have as the major headline coming from the front page of the Nigerian Tribune. Still taking headlines from this side, COVID-19. Prepare for second wave of infection, PTF. Set to release next steps in eased lockdown. Lawan to Federal Character Commission. Don't allow marginalization of any state. Still taking headlines, I have Edo Assembly Speaker impeached. ASU stands on UTAS. Demonstrates payroll system to National Assembly leadership. Finally, coming from the front page of the Nigerian Tribune this morning, I have tanker explosion claims 9 in Oshun. 8 dead in Ogun, Lagos, Delta auto crashes. And I have photographs coming from the protest that took place in Lagos yesterday as gridlock was around Alausa, Lekki, and the Murtala Mohammed Airport Access Plaza. That's all I have coming from the front page of the Nigerian Tribune. Now taking headlines from the Punch newspaper. Call driver killed as protests spread ground, Lagos, others. 3 riders to the headline, police beat female protester, others, hoodlums attack police station. Sanwo-Olu meets Buhari today, IGP promises new corp for new squad. PDP, others demand police overhaul. President pledges deep reforms. Amotekun arrests Ekiti suspected kidnapper in military uniform. Kwara Yam Flour Miller commits suicide over alleged deaths. I'll claim my stolen mandate in 2022 pool. That's not from me, but from the ex-deputy of Fayoshi. 17 killed in Oshun tanker fire. Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. Delta clashes. The Smith Corps steals police job applicants' phone cash. I'm shocked I lost in Akure 3 local governments. That's coming from Akeredolu. Still taking headlines from the front page of the Punch newspaper. Lawan faults federal government as Senate tackles government ASU logjam. Buhari assures Okonjo-Iweala of support to clinch WTO jab. APC group tackles Boni's committee, alleges elongation plots. New salary structure for teachers will create crisis. That's coming from Wiki. NCDC demands weekly, monthly, quarterly assessments as schools reopen. And finally, coming from the front page of the Punch newspaper this morning, power, fuel, VAT increments, cost tariff hike. DSTV. Those are the headlines that I have for you this morning. I go on a short break, and when I return, I take you through the details of the headlines. Please stay with us. right, welcome back, and it's still Newsreel on Pensioners 106.7 FM. Now to the details of the headlines. End SARS protests turn bloody, claim lives. A police inspector, Henry Ayodeji, attached to the Surulere anti-kidnapping unit, and another identified person have been killed during End SARS protests in Lagos on Monday. The two were killed during the protests that paralyzed economic activities in major parts of Ikeja, Lekki, Surulere, Magodo, and the Lagos Ibadan Expressway as vehicular movements were halted by the protesters. It was gathered that hundreds of protesters had invaded the Surulere station of the anti kidnapping squad in continuation of the NSAS protests. Some of the protesters were reportedly throwing stones and bottles at the police facility, prompting personnel of the unit to clash with them in an attempt to disperse them. And SARS protests turned bloody, claim lives. Quite a number of writers to that headline that I have on the same page. Sanwo-Olu speaks. Meanwhile, Governor Sanwo-Olu said he would visit President Muhammadu Buhari today to present the demands of youth on the issues. The governor said this while addressing aggrieved youth in Lekki area of the state, where they camped and blocked the expressway in protest, insisting on their demand for the physical presence of the president, among others. The protesters rebuffed pleas to reopen the road. The governor, who braved all odds, left the weekly meeting of the State Executive Council (SEC) to address the protesters, just as he urged them to be decorous and peaceful while expressing their grievances against the excessive use of force by SARS operatives. Also, I have Davido visits Force headquarters, demands release of detained protesters. A popular musician, David Adeleke, popularly known as Davido, on Monday, visited the Force headquarters, Abuja, and urged the Inspector General of Police, IGP Mohammed Abubakar Adamu, to order the immediate release of all those being detained in connection with the ongoing protests across the states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. Davido, while speaking during his short visit, demanded for justice for the victims of SARS brutality and compensation for their families, just as he urged the IGP to institute an independent body to investigate all the alleged reports of misconduct against operatives of the disbanded police unit. Davido visits Force headquarters, demands release of the teen protesters, and still talking and SARS protest. SARS will deal with errant policemen. This is coming from the president. President Muhammadu Buhari has directed that all those responsible for misconduct or wrongful acts in the police be brought to justice. He also assured that the disbandment of the Special Anti Robbery Squad (SARS) was the first step to extensive police reforms by his administration. The president spoke at the presidential villa in Abuja at the launch of the Presidential Youth Empowerment Scheme (PS), aimed at creating 774,000 jobs across the local government areas in the country. SARS will deal with errant policemen, Buhari. Of course, I still have some stories to take as regards SARS before I move into stories this morning. PDP others demand police overhaul. President pledges deep reforms. The president, Major General Muhammadu Buhari, on Monday said Sunday's disbanding of the Special Anti Robbery Squad of the Nigerian Police Force was the beginning of his regime's elaborate plan towards extensive police reform. According to a statement by Special Advisor on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, the president spoke at the inauguration of the Presidential Youth Empowerment Scheme aimed at creating 774,000 jobs across the local government areas in the country. In the statement titled President Buhari, the Disbanding of SARS, First Step to Extensive Reform, Buhari stated that bad eggs in the police would not be allowed to tarnish the image of the force. And I'm taking this finally as regards SARS. My daughter almost lost her life to SARS men, says Oni. Meanwhile, the Oni of Ife Oba Adeyeye Ogunwusi has supported the scrapping of SARS. Ogunwusi said on Twitter that his 25-year-old daughter once had a nasty experience with SARS operatives that almost cost her a life. The monarch therefore stated that he was happy that youths were finally standing up for their rights. My daughter almost lost her life to SARS men, says Oni. Still taking now to other stories this morning. I have Lawan faults federal government as Senate tackles government ASU logjam. The president of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, has berated the federal government for signing an unrealistic agreement with the Academic Staff Union of Universities. He said when we negotiate, we must negotiate in such a manner that the final product will be implementable. This is to say that we have to accommodate each other with government doing what it's supposed to do, and ASU, being the body of our lecturers, stands to protect its members. Lawan said this on Monday when ASU presented its alternative payroll system, the University Transparency and Accountability Solution, to the Senate. Lawan faults federal government as said it tackles government. ASU lock jam. Still taking other stories, I have contestants use El Rufai others challenges Zazzau Emir's appointment. One of the contestants for the Zazzau Emirates to Bashir Aminu in Inyan on Monday dragged the Kaduna State Governor Malam Nasir El Rufai and 9 others before the court over the appointment of Ahmed Bamali as the new Emir of Zazzau. The Ian Zazzau, who was among those selected earlier by the Zazzau kingmakers, having scored the highest mark to succeed the late Shehu Idris, instituted a suit to challenge the process that led to the emergence of the new Emir, a former Nigerian ambassador to Thailand. Contestants use El Rufai others challenges Zazzau Emir's appointment. Glad to inform you, my wonderful listener, that this morning I have in the house Pius and Sabe to do justice to some of the stories that I've read. Good to have you in the studio this morning, Pius.
Good morning, Balqis. So good to be with you on this program.
All right, quite a number of protests took place in Lagos yesterday as regards End SARS. And in some places, it turned out bloody that some lives were lost. What have you got to say as regards this?
Of course, it's quite sad when we have to lose a life each time we come out to ask questions of the government, or better still, seek an end to something that we do not like. The same reason for which the Nigerian youth came out asking for end SARS is the same reason for which some of them died yesterday. And it only goes to highlight, or better still, emphasize the call for reform of not just the Nigerian police, not just SARS, the entire Nigerian police and other security agencies that we have in this country. In fact, not just security agencies now, but Nigeria as a whole. But then there is always a starting point, and that is why I think that the Nigerian youths, maybe for the first time in a very long while, we are seeing a rebranded, so to speak, Nigerian youths coming out in one accord to ask questions, or better still, demand something that they badly, badly want. And that is the issue of end SARS. But it's sad that in the process of that, lives are still being lost. And then the question you ask yourself, why are lives being lost amid protest? That is one. Why? How come that live bullets, you understand, or live ammunition were being expended in such a protest? Because as far as I know, except perhaps in some other cases, it's been peaceful protest. So far, so good. But though we've recorded some skirmishes here and there, which neither here nor there, because at the end of the day, you can't even say whether it is coming from the side of the security or the side of the protesters. I'm very particular about that of Surulere. But I think it only goes to emphasize what the Nigerian youth are talking about, that life does not really matter in this country. Because if life truly matters, there is no way you will have live ammunition being used to scare protesters or whatever the motive behind it was. There are so many other things that could have been used.
Tear gas.
You have tear gas, you have rubber bullets, you have, water cannon, and so many other measures that the Nigerian police or the security outfit would have used. But to opt for live ammunition to scare armless, innocent young people who are demanding a change in their own country, I think it's an extreme, and therefore hit the nail exactly. If it appeared that what the Nigerian youth had been talking about didn't have any basis, I think the killings amid the protests have gone ahead to actually emphasize the need for a reform as far as the Nigerian security structure is concerned. For me, I think that the Nigerian youth should have been asking for even a bigger package that they are starting. But some people say it's a starting point. And that is probably why, even after the Inspector General of Police has come up with a proclamation that the SARS has been disbanded, the protest still continues. Because beyond just the issue of SARS now, it appears there are other attachments to it. Don't forget that we are a country that have tolerated, we have borne a lot, we have tolerated a lot, from our constituted authorities for so long in almost every ramification, not just in security now. Economy-wise, definitely, because you agree with me that our country is not doing fine. And so at the end of the day, it is the youth that get the heat of it all, because they come out of school, nothing on ground for them to fall back on. I'm not even talking about job now. There are a lot of things you could do to make life more meaningful for an average Nigerian youth. You understand? If we have our infrastructure working, if we have power constant, if we have the roads good, if we have soft loans that young people can fall back on to do business, young Nigerians are extremely creative. You need to see, even amid the economic hardship that they go through, you need to see how creative most young Nigerians are in terms of trying to churn out a living for themselves and keeping things going. You don't get that in so many countries in the world. So Nigeria is blessed with very creative youth, yet there is absolutely nothing on ground to cushion the pains that come with the economic hardship that we go through in this country. So I think it's a way of just ventilating, or let me say venting, their grievances now against the government, perhaps using this NSAS as a leverage. And that is why you are seeing that even when the president has come out to appeal, it seems as if they are not ready for a standoff yet. They are taking advantage of that to ask for more. So that is it, because you asked me my take on the killings amid protests. I think it's sad, it's worrisome, and really something very serious needs to be done about it.
All right, thank you very much for your thoughts there. Now, I beg your reaction as regards Lawan faulting federal government as Senate tackles government ASU logjam. Now, ASU has come to say that they have set up their own sort of implementation. What have you got to say as regards this?
Well, that matter between ASU and federal government, I don't think that both parties they are serious, let me put it that way, about resolving that issue. Particularly the federal government. Now, much as I don't want to entirely side ASU on this matter, because I strongly believe that if every other Nigerian worker, you understand, is being paid through that mode of payment, I personally do not see any reason the members of the Academic Staff Union of Universities should object to it, except they have a very strong reason for doing that. You get? Now, even as I speak with you, I think members of the non-academic staff union of university are also insisting that the new mode brought by ASU, that
the alternative payroll system,
yes, that they are not interested in it. You can also already see that there is a division in the house as far as this matter is concerned. But we had a very long time, particularly during the pandemic, where almost everything was grounded in the country, for these two parties to have resolved these issues. But I think the federal government went to bed. That's why I said I would. You understand? The federal government appeared to have gone to bed, not even thinking about how to resolve ASU matter up until this time. What we should have been talking about now is resumption of schools run by the federal government, I mean tertiary institutions, not trying to resolve ASU federal government impasse. So, whatever it is, thank God the National Assembly via the Senate is wading in. But the National Assembly does not have the final say. At the end of the day, it is the federal government that will determine whether it will accept what ASU is proposing or not. And if you look at the body language of the federal government, it doesn't seem as if the federal government is even ready to budge. Because if you listen to President Muhammadu Buhari's budget presentation on a couple of days ago, he stated categorically that all those who have not been captured in the IPPIS will no longer receive salaries, meaning that one way or the other, they are no longer recognized as workers of the federal government. And you know that the majority of the members of ASU did not present themselves for capturing into the IPPIS. And how possible is it to sweep members of ASU under the carpet? Where do you want to go and get their replacement? I don't know if you understand. So it's a major issue. It's a simple issue, but that has been made major because of our negligence to things, and then our perspective to things. If you ask me, I don't think this should have been an issue, like I said. For whatever reason, ASU doesn't want IPPIS. And for whatever reason, the federal government has also insisted that
it has to be IPPIS.
You must. But one thing I know is that you don't dictate to your employer how he pays you. That's what I know, except you have an ulterior motive, which a lot of Nigerians have accused ASU of. You understand? I think that they should just come together, resolve this matter of IPPIS once and for all, and let's move on. Better still, if what ASU is proposing is something that the federal government really needs to look into, perhaps it should also drop its shoulder a bit and try to consider what ASU is proposing against the backdrop of the issue of autonomy that we've always talked about in the universities. Don't forget that the issue of autonomy has always been at the front burners, even though it's still questionable because of a number of factors. Autonomy, when you are autonomous, you cannot rely on a particular person or as a university. Now, if you want to be autonomous, it means you can no longer rely on the federal government for resources to run the universities, not to talk of payment of salaries and all that. So these are all issues that really need to be tackled. But it goes beyond all that. It goes beyond the issue of IPPIS. I mean, why are we even making the issue of IPPIS the main issue as far as the strike by ASU is concerned? There are other burning issues, like funding of our universities, upgrading our universities. Those should be the issues. You and I have been through tertiary institutions before, and we see the level of dilapidation. Some of us were even a bit slightly lucky to have attended schools like University of Ibadan. You understand? And some of these frontline federal universities. Go to some of them, even federal. You wonder if you are truly in a university compared with their contemporaries
Hmm.
outside this country. So these are the things that I think we should be fighting for, not how you should pay me. Mine should be when month ends, when it's time for me to get my salary. Of course, I get my alert. That should be my concern. And if I don't get it, then I should raise alarm. In as much as the IPPIS does not prevent them from getting their due entitlements, I don't see anything wrong with it. Even though we hear that there are issues actually, that as a result of the IPPIS, some people are being short paid,
Hmm.
shortchanged, while some do not get their salary as an when they
Okay.
should. You understand? So these are issues, but I think there are technological issues which which cuts across almost every facet in our country.
Hmm.
As far as technology is concerned, we are still struggling to a very large extent. But that is not to say that the issues cannot be addressed. Both parties must sit down, open their hearts, and talk about these issues so that we can get out of this mess once and for all. But our government is not ready to commit what it ought to commit to the education sector. And I think that is where the problem is.
All right, thank you very much for your thoughts there, Pius and Sabe. Let's move forward with more stories. Ensure 2023 Igbo presidency. Forget restructuring, group tells Buhari. The Chancellor, Nigeria Presidential Project 2023, Walter Obiora Oji, on Sunday, urged the President, Major General Muhammadu Buhari, retired, to forget restructuring and creation of additional states in the zone, but ensure the objective of the Igbo to produce the nation's president come 2023 was achieved. This is even he he observed that those currently clamoring for the restructuring of the country were doing so for their selfish interests, saying anyone talking about restructuring was merely trying to change the narrative from zoning to restructuring. You'll react to that, but I still want to take more stories. New salary structure for teachers will create crisis. That's coming from Nyesom Wiki. The River State Governor, Nyesom Wiki, said on Monday that the new structure for the teachers announced by the federal government will create crisis for the country's educational system. Wike stated this during a courtesy visit on him by representatives of the board of the College of Medical Sciences, River State University, at the Government House, Port Harcourt. Wike, in a statement by the State Commissioner for Information and Communications, Paulinus Nsirim, was quoted as saying that while it was good to give teachers a new salary scale, it was also important not to politicize such a sensitive issue. And still taking stories this morning, I have Northern Elders Group lampoons Buhari over insecurity, IDP's hunger. Members of the Coalition of Concerned Northern Elders for Peace and Development on Monday expressed concern over the continued silence of the President Muhammadu Buhari to the growing calls for him to rejig the security architecture in the country. According to them, the resolutions of the National Assembly that the president should act swiftly to stop the increasing bad situations was enough for him to act, given that they are the representatives of the people. We're never afraid of scrutiny. NNPC GMD. The group managing director, Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, Malam Mele Yari, on Monday said the corporation is never afraid of scrutiny. This was even as he reiterated NNPC's commitment to transparency, accountability, and best in class performance excellence in all its operations. Also, I have NERC confirms suspension of service based tariff for another 7 days. The Nigeria Electricity Regulatory Commission, NERC, on Monday said the suspension placed on service based tariff has been postponed for another 1 week. It said this is to allow for adequate cleanup of the recommendations between the federal government, labor unions, and the electricity distribution companies discussed. NERC's chairman, Professor James Momo, who spoke to journalists in Abuja, said the postponement became imperative to avoid incessant changes in electricity tariffs. Pius, I beg your reaction. I observed that as I read the story as regards Igbo presidency 2023, you smiled.
Yes, I had to smile, Bilkis, because at times it looks as if we don't even know what we want. We don't even have an understanding of exactly what we want. We speak with the flow, but that's not the way to go. In any case, I'm talking about my Southeast brothers now. That's or particularly the man who made that comment.
Mm.
That power is not served a la carte. That's what political scientists will tell you, meaning that it's not served on a platter of gold. Hmm? You have to work for it with all the political capitals
Mm.
that you've got. One way or the other, when a president emerges, go back and look at how it all happened. You will know that there's a history to it.
Mm.
It doesn't just come. You understand? Let's even start from 1999. I'm talking about the Fourth Republic now.
Mm.
How President Muhammadu Buhari,
Olusegun
former
Obasanjo.
President Olusegun Obasanjo emerged president of Nigeria. It could be traced to the 1993 election,
Mm.
where the Westerners, or let me put it, the Southwest as we know it today, were practically robbed of a shot on the presidency via the nullification of that election.
Mm.
You understand? And it was a way of saying, okay, since these people were denied this opportunity, which they worked for, and they got it, this is a way of compensating or bringing them back to take what belongs or what they earned. You understand? Now, it moved from there, it went to the north,
Mm.
where the
Musa
late
Yar'Adua.
Musa Yar'Adua came from. You understand? And Musa Yar'Adua did not last in the office for so long before the inevitable happened to him. And one way or the other, power shifted back. This time around, Providence put the South there. You understand? Providence put the South there. Not because of the kind of politicking that happens in the South, but Providence, because the vice president then was from that region of the country. And then, now you know where power is. But if you look at, particularly in this President Muhammadu Buhari's administration, a lot happened. Don't forget that President Muhammadu Buhari had contested for this thing, I think 3 times before he eventually got it the 4th time. And in all this, why did he not emerge the first 3 times? Because he was probably in the minority, so to speak. But there were some power games that played out. And it was a marriage. Some people call it marriage of convenience. Some people called it marriage of inconvenience. But whatever it was, there was a marriage. You understand? And that was what led to what eventually brought out. It was more like a force between the North and the West. And you know, as far as politics is concerned, whether you like it or not, there is a particular geopolitical zone you cannot rule out, because they are like the determinant, and that is the Southwest. So the point I'm trying to make is that, yes, we all know that truly, if we were to go by the way things should be done ideally, of course, the fact that somebody from the Southeast should be given an opportunity to become Nigeria's president is something that is being overemphasized even. But you can't just sit down and fold your arms and expect miracle to happen. You have to do something. And the time is now. You have to play the game the way it is. You have to look for ally in all parts of the country. If it's an agenda of the Southeast, begin to form ally now with the West, and possibly with the North. So as for South, definitely Southeast will always get the support of the South because they are like neighbors. There's no doubt about that. So you need to extend your tentacles. That is the point. But to sit down and say that it is the turn of the South, things don't work that way. In any case, I, for one, I'm looking for a Nigeria where you are put there on the basis of what you can offer, not on the basis of which geopolitical zone you
You
come from.
belong
I
to.
hope we get there someday. You understand? But as it is today, power is not served a la carte. That's where I started from. But when I said that,
Sorry,
at
our time
times,
is fast spent.
yes, at times we
Let's
don't.
open the phone lines
Okay,
for
okay.
our wonderful listeners out there. I sincerely apologize. I should have done that earlier before now. 0908 111 1067 and 0808 010 1067. 0908 111 1067 and 0808 010 1067. Those are the studio lines for you to phone in and give your own contributions as regards stories that we have read out this morning. You can go ahead with your
Yes, yes. What I
discussion.
wanted to say, why I said at times it looks as if we don't even know what we want is that
Mm.
here we are talking about restructuring, which is the basic need of this country as of today. And somebody is telling us that
Restructuring is not
the
the way.
issue we is not restructuring now. It is about, I mean, what we actually need in this country today, everybody knows is restructuring. And that's even why this issue of NSAS that you are seeing is
Mm.
part of the restructuring that we are talking about. If we are able to achieve a restructuring in the security sector of this country, you will see that some of these issues that have led to the issue of NSAS will become a thing of the past.
Okay, now I want you to react to this. Wiki is saying new salary structure for teachers will create crisis.
I agree with him, actually. I agree with him. In as much as we want to commend President Muhammadu Buhari for maybe his Teachers' Day package
Mm.
for teachers, I think there's a problem with that declaration.
Okay.
Because at the federal level, I have said it before in this studio, at the federal level, yes, you may be able to achieve it because you have the federal schools within your control, because you are approving a new salary structure for teachers. And obviously, the federal government did it in isolation because it did not carry along state governments.
Mm.
And the majority of schools in this country are run by the state, not the federal government.
Mm.
The federal government has a little above 100 secondary schools. You understand?
Mm.
And I don't know if the federal government has any primary school it runs. So if anything that has to do with teachers has to come from the state first. But as it is today, even the one that we have, how many of them are actually being paid the way they should be paid?
Mm.
Not to talk of a review of it. Look at the issue of minimum wage. It was even struggle before state governments agreed to succumb to it, albeit reluctantly.
Even up till now, not all
most
states.
yes.
Not
We
all
heard the
state
last
has
time we heard about
implemented that.
9 states
Mm.
are still dragging their feet on the issue of minimum wage. So these are the issues that at times when you look at it turns out to be like a quick gift. It's like giving somebody a gift or just pronouncing it for political reasons, what you know that may not work at the end of the day. So was it carefully thought out?
Mm.
Were all the sides to it carefully looked into? Or was it just one of those statements you just make out of euphoria? I don't know. But whatever it is, I think Wiki is right. There will be problem. But there is no problem that cannot be solved. Teachers deserve the best of anything you can give to them. Like I said the other day, you and I are in this studio talking today because we were taught by somebody. And I think they deserve the very best of everything.
All right, 0908 111 0908 111 and 0808 010 1067 0808 010 1067. Those are the studio lines for you to phone in and give your own contributions as regards stories that we have read out this morning. Don't forget that you can also drop your comment on our Facebook page. That's at Pensioners FM Facebook page. Pensioners FM. All right, now I'll be taking just headlines. We'll push until you win. Buhari assures Okonjo Iweala on WTO job. And also, I have water resources bill guarantees citizens' right to water. That's coming from the Minister of Water Resources. Pencom staff joins opposition against new board petition Senate President. And also, I have Amotekun arrests Ekiti suspected kidnapper in military uniform. Let me take a bit of this story. The Corps Commander, Ekiti State Security Network Agency, codenamed Amotekun Corps, Brigadier General Joe Komolafe, retired, said on Monday that the security outfit had arrested a suspected kidnapper who was dressed in military uniform. Komolafe said the 23-year-old suspect was arrested at Ifakiekiti in the Ido Osi local government area of the state during a routine patrol of the security outfit. And I have military line siege to Namdi Kanu's hometown, IPOB. Cassava theft, Rivers woman stripped naked, brutalized by vigilantes.
That's quite sad.
Cassava theft.
For whatever reason, for somebody to have even stolen cassava, no one is justifying stealing anyway. But for somebody to have stolen cassava, you can imagine the level of hunger. That's what part of what we are talking about. In any case, jungle justice is never the way to go. That is why we have laws in this country.
All right, I have this. I'm shocked I lost in 3 Akure local governments. I get rid of what he's already.
What do you expect? We play politics of zone in Nigeria, and Akure is the area, is the zone, so to speak, of his main challenger. So you shouldn't be surprised. No matter how much we have worked for them, they still believe that their brother, quote and unquote, now, he should be the one at the government house and not the man from Ondo North, which is the current governor. But that's Nigerian politics anyway.
All right, taking some stories from the state. Ogbomoso protests. Police to take back seats as Makinde deploys Operation Bust. With Ogbomoso boiling due to NSAS protests since Saturday, the Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde, has directed the State Joint Security Task Force, Operation Bust, to handle the protests henceforth, while the police are now to take the back seats. Ogbomoso had since Saturday become the hotbed of violence, with 3 persons, which include Isiaka Jimo, third killed in violent clashes involving residents of the town and the police. Also coming from Oyo State, I have Ibadan twins kidnap, court releases pregnant woman. And Iyagoku Chief Magistrate Court, sitting in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, on Monday, ordered the release of a pregnant woman, Medina Rafiu, who was remanded alongside 6 others for allegedly kidnapping 2-year-old twins of an Ibadan-based Islamic preacher, Sheikh Taufik Akil Bagold. Also, I have this sad one: 9 killed as tanker explodes in Oshun, 8 dead in Ogun, Lagos, Delta auto crashes. No fewer than 9 people were confirmed burnt to death after a diesel tanker exploded on the Ilesha-Akure highway in Osun State on Sunday. Following the explosion, the diesel content of the tanker spilled on some vehicles that had been held up on the highway, thereby raising them as well.
Sad. Quite sad. But I think I should think that if it was possible, some of these heavy duty trucks should travel only at night and not during the day when the roads are extremely busy. I don't know how possible that's going to be, but as it is today, I should think that is one of the solutions to some of these incessant road accidents and carnages we record as a result of these heavy duty trucks and the activities.
All right, many thanks to you, Pius Ntabe, for giving us for doing justice to the stories we've read out this morning. Many thanks to you for your thoughts. And sincere appreciation to you, to our wonderful listener out there, for making us a part of your morning. Let's do this again tomorrow. My name is Balqis Ishola Taiwo. Have yourself a wonderful day.
Pensioners FM 106.7. Give me the good sound. I love good sound. What a one, what